In California, the battle is over church services. Pastor John MacArthur is defying Governor Gavin Newsom's new coronavirus restrictions, hosting indoor, in-person services at Grace Community Church in Los Angeles County. Pastor says he's apparently been warned he could face fines or even arrest if he carries on, and yet he does. Pastor John MacArthur joins us live to talk about that. Pastor, good to have you with us.
Thank you, Shannon. My pleasure.
Okay, let me start with this headline, a piece written by a doctor. He says churches could be the deadliest places in the COVID-19 pandemic. He says the combination of singing in close quarters and decreased ventilation is nothing short of a petri dish or cell plate for viral growth. What worries do you have or not have regarding, the reality of this particular virus, which seems to be very contagious?
Well, there are two ways to answer that. As far as our church goes, we have no one in our church, and we're a church of 6,000 to 7,000 people that we know of who's had any effect if they've had COVID. We don't even know of only a handful of people who had COVID and they were without symptoms. So we've had no issues there. In the state of California, the statistics are about 8,500 to 9,000 people have died out of 40 million. That means in California you have a 99.98 chance of getting through this without any final illness. So the lockdown and the draconian things that have been going on to stifle this culture, to stifle it educationally, to stifle the businesses, to lock down people, and then to shut down churches is just not warranted by the reality of the virus. So we feel like we are the most essential reality in the world. Look, Jesus is Lord. That is the Christian confession. It's always been our confession since he rose from the dead. Jesus is Lord. He's Lord of the universe, and he's Lord and head of his beloved church, which he redeemed with his own blood. He is the head of our church. Governor Newsom is not the head of the church. Mayor Garcetti is not the head of the church. We respect them for their temporal officer leadership in our government, that when they move into the life of the church and tell the church what it can do, they're usurping a role that they don't have. The Constitution doesn't give them the power to do that, and they don't certainly have the spiritual power to do that, to usurp the place that only Jesus Christ has over his church.
Okay, let me read you something quickly from another pastor there in California. He says, first of all, I want to stand with Pastor MacArthur in affirming the vital importance of corporate worship. But he says it comes down to four things: the importance of worship, love for neighbor, obedience to government, and maintaining a good witness. He says, what concerns me about defying the state order right now is that it seems to prioritize number one, the importance of worship, is at the expense of 2 through 4, loving your neighbor, being a witness, and obedience to the government. What do you think about those concerns?
Well, first of all, we are a church that has a reputation for the last 50 years of obeying the government. We are a friend to this society, to every level of this society. We have been given awards and accolades and plaques from the city government, the police department, all in authority, because they recognize what an honorable congregation this church has been. But never before has the government invaded the territory that belongs only to the Lord Jesus Christ and told us we can't meet, we can't worship, we can't sing. There's no power given to the government to make those kinds of calls against us. Secondly, and I said this a moment ago,
Pastor,
we love our neighbors. We're not spreading anything but the gospel.
all right, Pastor, I'm sorry to stop you there. We're going to get cut off if I don't go. But Pastor John MacArthur, thank you very much. Political news next.